Rajavi and the NCRI, we join with you again this year to reaffirm our support for you and for the Iranian people. The Iranian people deserve peace, they deserve prosperity, basic human rights, and freedom. They also deserve free and fair elections, truly democratic elections, not the sham presidential election that recently occurred in Iran, where President Ebrahim Raisi was named president. The reformer candidates were not even allowed to put their name on the ballot. The people didn't have a choice. The people of Iran recognized this election for what it was, a fraud. That's why so many of them boycotted the election, to send a message to the supreme leader and the mullahs that this was not the type of election that they wanted to participate in. We know that Raisi was handpicked by the supreme leader and his henchmen. He has a long history of violating human rights. He was involved in the murder of over 30,000 political prisoners. His victims were tortured, raped, murdered, and discarded in unmarked graves where their family members could never even properly bury them or know where they are. Truly disturbing. The United Nations should investigate these murders and should not give any legitimacy to the presidency of Ebrahim Raisi. According to Amnesty International, Raisi also presided over the crackdown on peaceful protesters, on defenders of human rights, of religious minorities in Iran. The fact that Raisi was handpicked by the supreme leader just tells you that this regime has no intention of changing. They continue to support terrorism. They continue to develop nuclear weapons, to develop missiles. They continue to support so much harm around the world and to disrupt peace. But we know, fortunately, that there is an alternative and there is hope for the Iranian people. Mrs. Rajavi and the NCRI have a 10-point plan that envisions a peaceful future for Iran, a democratic future for Iran. Their 10-point plan includes religious freedom, but religious separation of church and state. It includes universal suffrage, gender equality, and a non-nuclear Iran that can work with the rest of the world and will be a peaceful and prosperous Iran. It is time for all leaders of free countries around the world to stand together and to stand with the people of Iran and know that there is an alternative with the NCRI for a free and peaceful Iran. I call on President Biden to reject any appeasement of the Supreme Leader Khomeini or the newly elected president in Iran. It's time to reimpose tougher sanctions on Iran. We should not re-enter the weak JCPOA. Under the JCPOA, Iran got access to a lot of cash. Did they use those resources to help their own people, especially during the devastating pandemic and what Iran went through on COVID, or with their economic circumstances? No, they continued to invest in terrorism, in their nuclear weapons program, in causing conflict around the world. The JCPOA also failed to deal with Iran's malign behavior in the Middle East and also failed to deal with its terrorist proxies. And those were huge omissions. The mullahs only understand one thing. They only understand strength. It is time for the Biden administration and leaders around the world to impose a maximum pressure campaign on Iran. We cannot allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. We cannot allow Iran to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, which have the capability of delivering a nuclear weapon to the United States or to other countries around the world with devastating impact. We cannot allow Iran to continue to support groups or themselves maim and kill people and commit terrorist acts. It is time for the free countries of the world to join together to stop Iran's reign of terror, to end the tyranny that the Iranian people have unfortunately been subjected to. We have seen time and time again the bravery of the Iranian people, the protests that they have engaged in. Iranians from all walks of life have taken to the street, and they've taken to the street to ask for their freedom, to ask for prosperity and peace, to say, we want regime change. We want to decide our own future and the future of our country. It is clear that it is time to support the Iranian people fully, to stand with the NCRI. We're at a critical moment. Let's vow to make 2021 the year where freedom truly reigns for the people of Iran.